chase, Australia. Great hit out, guys.
Tonight, a new weapon in the COVID fight. Australia approves the Moderna vaccine, 10 million doses on the way. The lockdown extended, panic buying in Tamworth, and tonight 100,000 people on the North Coast are told to stay home. HSC students' mass vaccination, the new hub dedicated to the class of 2021. Hitting the wall, the reality of the damage from the construction shutdown in the heart of our West. Also tonight, risking it all on the rails head-on with a tram. A rock and roll palace, Jimmy Barnes puts his incredible botany home on the market. And all good things come to an end. The Olympic team bids farewell to Tokyo before heading for home.
Live from Sydney, 7 News with Mark Ferguson.
Good evening. Australia has a new weapon in the battle against COVID-19. The Moderna vaccine has now been approved for use in adults, with the first 1 million doses to arrive next month. The breakthrough vaccine is similar to Pfizer and could soon be approved for children.
It is now officially a race, and today a third player enters the vaccination marathon.
We have more Pfizer, we have more AstraZeneca, and now we have Moderna.
To be rolled out through pharmacies within weeks.
This is another important tool that we have in our battle against COVID.
10 million Moderna doses are expected to arrive this year, 1 million next month, and 15 million more of an updated formula next year. Approved today by the Therapeutic Goods Administration for those 18 and over.
We'll have it in our hands and we'll have the jabs in our arms starting next month.
The TGA will rule within weeks on extending Moderna to children as young as 12. The manufacturer is already testing overseas on babies.
It's highly efficacious, and of course we can build on widespread global experience.
Moderna, like Pfizer's, an mRNA vaccine used in America, Britain and Europe for months. AstraZeneca has an 82% effectiveness rate, 12 weeks between shots, and a rare blood clotting side effect. Pfizer, 95% effective, 4 weeks between shots and rare heart side effects. Now Moderna, 95%, 4 weeks, and the major side effect, a sore arm. And with 15 million Australians still in lockdown and his personal ratings heading down, Scott Morrison makes an impassioned plea for understanding.
I know Australians are frustrated. None of us likes it. None of us likes to have restrictions. And I can understand that Australians will go, well, you're the Prime Minister. Believe me, I get it. I don't want it to be this way either. We have to bear down at this time. We have to push through.
A call to arms for jabs in arms.
And let's go to Mark Riley in Canberra now. Mark, is this a genuine game changer for Australia's vaccination program?
Well, Mark, the government's sure hoping it is. It's been rightly hammered for the vaccine rollout going at a trickle, and that is to become a torrent very soon. 2 million doses a week, enough to fully vaccinate the country by Christmas and then some. And I can reveal that government research today shows vaccination hesitancy is plummeting as this lockdown drags on. 79% now say they will be or have been vaccinated, with just 7% declaring themselves anti-vaxxers. Lockdowns, infections and tragically deaths doing more to encourage people to grab a jab than any government advertising has. Mark?
Mark Riley in Canberra, thank you. The COVID crisis gripping Sydney is now spreading further. A large part of the state's north has just gone into a snap one-week lockdown. This is Tamworth, where stay-at-home orders have come into force. So too Byron Bay, Ballina, Lismore and the Richmond Valley. Across the state, another 283 infections were recorded, at least 64 of those fully infectious while in the community. And sadly, another death, a woman in her 90s. The 30th victim of an outbreak showing no sign of slowing down.
Long traffic queues at local testing sites, shopping trolleys loaded, supermarket shelves stripped bare, telltale signs of a town entering lockdown.
Yeah, well, I thought it was all over, but obviously not.
Tamworth residents ordered to stay at home for 7 days after an infected woman visited from Newcastle last week.
There aren't any cases yet, but there have been a number of confirmed exposure sites.
Also in lockdown tonight, Byron Bay, Ballina, Lismore and Richmond Valley. A man in his 50s travelled from Sydney to the region at the end of July, infectious in the community for several days.
They shouldn't really be allowed out of Sydney to come up here, should they?
It's not very smart.
The man's now in Lismore Hospital, yet to explain his reason for travel.
Obviously, if there are any breaches or any issues, we work closely with the police.
Officers were called to Rookwood Cemetery yesterday. More than 60 people attending a funeral, well over the 10-person limit, as the outbreak claimed another life. A woman in her 90s in palliative care, unvaccinated, at Greenwich Hospital.
All deaths are horrible during this time, and again, we extend our deepest sympathy to her loved ones.
There's been an alarming spike in intensive care admissions. They started dropping slightly at the start of the month, but over the past 3 days, they've shot up. 9 more today, 67 patients in total. Only 6 had received 1 vaccine dose, the rest, 61, not vaccinated at all.
Almost all the need for ICU goes away and almost all the death goes away once people have been vaccinated properly.
Dr Richard Tataro is head of the ICU at Royal Prince Alfred Hospital. He admits resources are under pressure but not overwhelmed.
There are reconfigurations and a whole pile of stuff being done to help us cope.
That includes moving 7 COVID patients from the stretched Liverpool Hospital to Wollongong over the weekend.
We are using our full ICU network.
A new record for testing today, almost 134,000 daily cases at 283, 29 of them in the Penrith Council area, where 12 suburbs are now under the toughest lockdown rules, creating a divide with the region's other less restricted suburbs and causing confusion amongst local residents.
It wouldn't be long before they get locked down, I think.
Leanne Ewett's house on Victoria Street, Kingswood, is in a hotspot. Across the road, Cambridge Park is not.
It's not fair, I don't think, but it's better to be safe than sorry.
The state government strategy also under fire in Victoria, where 11 new cases were recorded.
If you want to see whether locking down some local government areas works, have a look what's happening up there.
Our Premier accepting interstate borders won't reopen anytime soon.
I don't know about you guys, but I don't think any state premier is going to change their position on that.
Forging ahead with her plan to ease restrictions at the end of the month. Vaccinated workers, including hairdressers and beauticians, potentially allowed to return to work.
I'm sure if you asked the majority of people in our state, would you look forward to more freedoms than what we have now, I think the answer would be yes.
Alex Hart, 7 News.
HSC students from hotspot suburbs lined up to get their first COVID shots today, with a promise they'll be able to sit their final exams. Thousands more will flood in this week if they can make it through the online booking system.
Sydney's biggest arena, usually home to pop stars. Today, teeming with teenagers.
I'm just going to let 10 or so in to start.
Front of the queue for Year 12 students who live or study in COVID hotspots.
I don't have to worry that much about getting COVID and I can sit my HSC exams.
13 years of schooling building up to this one moment. So to be able to go back and do it in person means everything.
Isabella Wu, the first through the door.
I'm glad that we're getting the vaccine and I hope we graduate.
Lauren Briggs, the first to get the jab.
I'm not too fond of needles, but it's okay. Yeah, it's worth it.
3,000 other students followed today. The Premier wants more.
We have around 20,000 and I don't think we've reached anywhere near capacity yet.
Fearful students will give up after many couldn't make appointments online.
It's an IT thing, they're just working on it now.
Don't worry, there is capacity for you to get vaccinated this week. If you're experiencing glitches, we also have that telephone hotline number.
These students only have this week to take up the opportunity. This time next week, the arena will be transformed into another mass vaccination hub, open to the general public. 46% of eligible New South Wales residents have now had their first vaccine dose. 23% have had 2 and are fully vaccinated.
We have 4.5 million jabs, hoping we get to 5 million jabs sometime next week, and then we have the home run to 6 million jabs by the end of August.
Toll operator Transurban wants to get things moving, operating the vaccinated freedom for free. 2 electric cars are up for grabs, as well as waived toll fees for a year.
Whether it's a family road trip or whether it's driving across town to see friends, we want to get moving again, and we see the vaccine as a crucial part to that.
A light at the end of the tollway tunnel. Amelia Brace, 7 News.
The Premier is facing a backbench revolt over her move towards mandatory vaccination for tradies and other construction workers. One Liberal MP says it's not the government's role to force people into medical procedures, but other Conservatives and employers say it's the only way forward.
The government's rule for tradies from COVID hotspots needing the jab for their job has sparked a backlash.
It is actually government imposing themselves in people's personal lives.
The Western Sydney Liberal MP pushing to ban business and the state government from making COVID vaccination mandatory.
Government should never be in any position to force any individual to do something such as undergo a medical procedure.
The issue dividing Cabinet, the Premier defending it.
When you are in a lockdown and when you know there are a high number of cases circulating in particular communities, you need to make decisions for the greater good.
The federal government says it's not insisting at this stage.
It is a non-mandatory program.
So far, the only companies making vaccination mandatory are SPC and Queensland's Alliance Airlines, plus international companies like Google, Netflix and Facebook. In New South Wales, aged care quarantine and some airport workers are required to have it. Police, paramedics and other health workers are strongly urged. Others argue instead of legal restrictions, what businesses need are legal protections to help them reopen safely. Hotelier and former federal Liberal MP Craig Laundy says staff must be vaccinated.
We can't have them in the venue potentially infecting and killing someone else.
And as for customers,
if you don't want to be vaccinated, don't come to my hotel.
Restaurateur Luke Mangan is watching New York.
They've set standards where before you do enter a restaurant, you're going to have to prove that you have been vaccinated.
Discussing now if he'd do the same, but that the priority
is how we're opening and when we're opening.
Paul Kadak, 7 News.
It will go down in history, the games that went off without a major hitch in the middle of a pandemic. Overnight, Tokyo extinguished the Olympic flame with a made-for-TV closing ceremony, passing the torch on to Paris with the hope crowds will be watching there in 2024.
Tokyo's time has come to an end, and this was the ceremony to say sayonara. Japanese hosts carried in what briefly looked like a giant heart, appropriate for a Games we'd loved. 204 flags would follow, Australia's held high by our gold medal sailor.
What a wonderful moment for him to cherish.
And not long after, the athletes followed.
It's just unreal.
The US arrived in Ralph Lauren style, hosts Japan celebrating their best ever 27 gold. 85 Australians marched and danced. With 17 gold, our equal best ever result, there was plenty to celebrate. Hurdler Sarah Carley jumping onto the shoulders of decathlete Ash Maloney.
So he's done the 10 events and now he's doing the shoulder carry.
While the boxing kangaroo was up high as well.
We're doing Aussie, 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 oi, 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 and it was just, yeah, really cool atmosphere.
Unlike the opening ceremony, they allowed a little levity, a party band and a breakdance group. With athletes unable to get amongst Tokyo life got amongst them. There was this show-stopping moment, thousands of particles of light swirling around and cascading into the stadium. Dazzle.
That's beautiful.
It then formed the Olympic rings. They called it a show of unity, except the show was an illusion. This is what was actually happening inside the stadium. A sprinkle of TV magic for an audience that was mostly watching from home. The stadium tonight empty, as all of them had been for 17 days. History's only Olympics where even the hosts couldn't watch. It was a cut price, cut corners ceremony. Tokyo admitting the budget was slashed while COVID cut numbers. Athletes stayed away or left early.
Kenya!
Fitting, they awarded the marathon winners.
Kenya!
For what's been the longest journey to get here, a year overdue and forever in doubt. Now the attention turns to the next hosts, Paris, the baton passed. French astronaut Thomas Pesquet played the national anthem from the International Space Station. That as they drifted right over Tokyo.
I've got to say, this is unbelievably cool.
Sport always attracts big betting, but the biggest gamble of all was Tokyo's, staging these games. But tonight the Olympic flame was extinguished on their terms, not COVID's. This was a closing ceremony for an Olympics that many thought would never even open. But for millions worldwide, for just a couple of weeks, COVID didn't defeat the Games defeated COVID.
In these difficult times, you give to the world the most precious of gifts, hope.
As the world now hopes for more of the same for the Paralympics in 2 weeks' time.
Well, let's go live now to Chris Reason in Tokyo. Chris, the entire team's almost home, but they never rest for long.
Good evening, Mark. Yeah, these are people not used to sitting still for too long. And when they go into hotel quarantine for those 2 weeks, for many of them, it'll be the longest they've been without training in their entire adult lives. The rest of the world's attention's going to be moving pretty quickly as well. Of course, as I mentioned, the Paras on in just 2 weeks' time, August 24, followed by the Beijing Winter Olympics in February next year. And then in July, the Commonwealth Games in Birmingham, and all eyes, of course, on Paris 24. And Mark, all of those major events, though, will take so much more confidence now from having watched and witnessed what happened here, and what has effectively happened is that Tokyo has handed them a blueprint for a COVID-safe Games.
Yeah, it was a great job. Well done, Chris. We'll see you soon. The last of our athletes begin touching down on Aussie soil in the next few minutes, straight into a fortnight of quarantine to rest and perhaps reminisce. Many may then return to suburbs in lockdown, but it will be closer to their families than some have been for years.
Their races run, swum and jumped. Now the final hurdle for our Olympic athletes, getting home.
It seems like it was over just like that.
We're so grateful and so lucky to be here. Just the highs of highs and the lows of lows.
After flying through their events in Tokyo, they're flying back to Australia with a quick stopover via social media.
And it was one of the best experiences of my life, so arigato gozaimasu.
Thank you too from Harry Garside, the ballet-trained boxer with painted fingernails and a bronze medal.
It's been fantastic, this whole experience. I just hope over the last 2 weeks that we showed a bit of love and a bit of positivity.
Running mates Cedric Dubler and Ash Maloney also heading back. Yeah. Cedric famous for sacrificing his race to help Ash to a bronze. The Olympics finish line now sinking in.
It's a weird feeling. I think I'm ready to go home and kind of reset.
And if anyone needs a rest...
Absolutely collapsed.
Patrick Tiernan became another name for determination, refusing to give up as his body shut down in the 10,000 metres.
I haven't been home for a little while, so I'm looking forward to seeing my family for the first time in a couple of years.
The distance runner has been training in the US.
Distance makes the heart grow fonder.
After years of preparation, dedication and delays, it was over in a flash. A final Games for some, just the beginning for others.
You wait till Paris, thank you.
In Tokyo, Ashley Mullaney, 7 News.
And you can watch Aussie Olympians share the secrets behind those triumphs in Tokyo. Heroes of the Games, a 7 News Spotlight special tonight from 9:15. Now, Angie's here with the weather. Angie, it warmed up for a very nice afternoon.
Did, Mark. It was a good balance, a touch of cloud, plenty of sunshine and nice light winds. That allowed the city to climb to a pleasant 20.4 degrees, and 10 minutes later, Penrith reached the same maximum. Those temperatures were among the warmest in the state, up there with northern New South Wales, where tops reached 20 or 21 degrees as well. The trend was mid to high teens generally elsewhere. As the remaining cloud clears tonight and winds 10 northwesterly, we'll see a run of even warmer days. Spring-like temperatures will peak on Wednesday, with this pocket in yellow signifying mid-20s. Tonight won't be too cold either. This is how things stand this evening. It's 17 degrees at Bondi, 15 at Bankstown. More details on that warm spell on the way soon, Mark.
See you then, Angie. Thank you. One man is dead after a fight between housemates. After the break, the alleged killer arrested. What the neighbours saw. The devastating truth behind this stunning orange sky. Scared safe veneer misses and shocking accidents on our tram and train lines. That's later. Inside the working class man's warehouses, Jimmy Barnes sells up. And weekend shopping a little too much to bear inside this supermarket.
7 News brought to you by Go Local First.
Go Local First!
How do you bring local communities to life?
Go Local First.
It's local and we love it.
Go Local First.
I think everyone is looking to support their local community.
Go Local First. Local local first is most important.
Australia's 3.5 million small businesses create 2 out of every 3 new jobs.
Go local.
Jobs that bring local communities to life.
It's always hard. It gets harder.
What happened? There was an accident on the way back.
Dean.
And the lucky one, there's always one.
Is he alive?
Dean, hey, he's crashing.
I still love him. And now it might be too late.
Hey, stay with me. You're worried about him, right? I'm scared.
Come on, Dean, stay with me. For the way that you love me every day.
Fuji Xerox is now Fujifilm Business Innovation. Our multifunction printer is the gateway to success, enhancing your speed and accessibility. With Fujifilm's power and expertise that have overcome every challenge, we will strengthen our resilience and reliability and bring innovation to your business. Accelerate your business success. Fujifilm Business Innovation.
What's for dinner?
What could be easier than over 100 Coles quick and simple dinner ideas?
Smells absolutely delicious.
All made with 5 ingredients or less and ready in 30 minutes or less.
How easy is this?
There's a meal for everyone.
Really looks yummy.
Like our easy lamb and black bean burgers for less than $4 per serve. Find the new What's for Dinner recipes online at Coles & Co. and in this month's Coles magazine.
Want this one again?
What's for dinner? Value the Australian way at Coles.
Voltaren Emel Gel reduces inflammation and relieves muscle pain. It's not just movement, it's game, set and match. Voltaren, the joy of movement.
With less than 5 grams of sugar per bar and 35% whole grain oats, LCM's Oaty Puffs
Looking for these?
are full of fun and oaty goodness for a snack you don't have to hide.
At Coles, free picnic wear is here to collect. For every $20 you spend in one transaction, scan your Flybuys card to earn 1 picnic wear credit. Start your picnic wear collection today. Coles, value the Australian way.
Look at these greys! I don't think there's ever going to be a better before and after.
Excellence Creme by L'Oréal Paris. 100% grey coverage and rich, radiant colour.
Boom! This is what I'm talking about. We're all worth it.
Welcome back. 2 people have been rescued from a unit after fire took hold in a supermarket this morning. Firefighters had to cut through the roller door of the Annandale IGA after a blaze in a rubbish compactor spread inside. More than 50 firefighters fought the flames, with residents rescued from an awning above the supermarket. A 43-year-old man is dead and his housemate is behind bars after the pair had a wild argument on the Central Coast last night. Police say the victim was stabbed in the chest after frightened witnesses saw bottles and chairs go flying.
An accused killer sits in the back of this police wagon with what officers believe are bloodied hands.
I'm lost for words, you know. Yeah, I mean, this is a great street here.
42-year-old Daniel Wheelahan is accused of killing his 43-year-old housemate Darren Quick during a fight at their Narara home.
Police will allege that the male died of stab wounds to the chest.
It's a very uneventful street. It's a family-orientated street.
Neighbours heard shouting and threats between the pair around 6 o'clock last night. Chairs and bottles were then thrown around the property.
They came up the footpath and smashed a bottle on the path outside our kitchen window here.
The men took their argument inside.
There was a weapon confiscated at the scene. We'll be alleging it was a knife.
Investigators spent the day examining the home and speaking with neighbours.
Yeah, it's very upsetting.
The 42-year-old accused killer faced a magistrate here at Gosford Court today, represented by a legal aid lawyer. He didn't apply for bail and will remain locked up until he returns to court in October. Natasha Squarey, 7 News.
The nearly week-long wildfires ravaging Greece have delivered some eerie scenes. Evacuations continue against the surreal orange backdrop on the island of Evia. The fire there engulfing the shore is the most severe of dozens across Greece, with thousands of residents and tourists rushed to safety. Satellite images show the smoke and scorched earth as pristine island forests are devoured. Shoppers who chose the wrong aisle inside this supermarket were in for a big surprise. A bear casually browsing, possibly on the hunt for honey. It happened in LA around 6:30 a.m, one of 3 sightings reported that morning. The bear was chased out of the store before being tranquilised and returned home. As Australia struggles to meet vaccine demand, some countries can't give them away. Up next, vaccine tourists. The new trend as overseas visitors claim unused shots. Brick by brick, the Sydney success story now crumbling under the weight of lockdown. Netflix Jobs, the new program to get a foot in the door just for New South Wales.
Ahead in sport, live from Tokyo, the NRL's contingency plan to take the grand final across the Tasman hits a hurdle.
Nothing on television comes close to our spectacular blind auditions.
Tonight, hear the little girl with the big voice.
How old are you?
I'm 12.
And she came to watch her brother.
Do you want to audition today? Oh.
But never expected to take the stage herself.
I can't believe this is happening.
Australia, this is just the start.
Was that you that just sang that?
The biggest blind auditions Australia has ever seen.
This is what I'm talking about.
The Voice, tonight after Home and Away on 7.
Imagine, instead of using many appliances over the years, just using one that washes your clothes more gently so they last longer, one that cleans your glasses so they keep their brilliance, using less energy and less water. Miele products are designed for long-lasting performance because longevity is the ultimate sustainability. That's quality ahead of its time. Miele, immer besser.
Bells, it's been ages and this power feels good.
It's reamped energy, mate. Independent, no lock-in contracts.
But the best bit are their prices.
So you're saying, if you pay too much for power, you're a goose. If you pay too much for power, you're a goose. Come on, guys.
If you pay too much for power.
If you pay too much for power.
Oh, if anyone's a goose, it's you guys.
If you pay too much for power, you're a goose.
To see what you could save, check out reampedenergy.com.au.
New Foods are hungry for change. That's why they've introduced next day delivery. Simply order their fresh, ready-made meals today for delivery tomorrow. It's that easy. Try 7 meals for $55 today.
Let me be great, let me be witty, let me be so ditty in every state and city. How about let you do a double take? I don't need your money, I don't need your credit. I'm a superwoman, I let you watch me fade.
Testing 1, 2. Mate, try the Vicks Vapor Drop.
Welcome back, throat. And welcome back, nose.
Vicks Vapor Drops. Welcome back, you.
Celebrating Australian fresh. With Everyday Rewards, boost and spend $10 on fresh fruit and veg in a single transaction and collect 5 times points on your total shop. Boost online now. Simply shop and scan your card. T's and C's apply. That's today's fresh food people.
Oh, it's going to be a big moment.
I was with Eliza. We went down and saw my mum and dad, and we had to get a bus to the little airport. I looked back and my phone was sitting there. So I just ducked to go get my phone.
Was it who do you love more situation?
No.
Who would I want to spend the next 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 years with? My phone or my daughter?
She couldn't see me, and I saw this fear and panic on her face, and I'd never seen that before.
I'll tell you why you'd never seen it before, because generally you're staring at your phone. You don't see anything.
Welcome back. Disturbing video circulating on social media shows a 16-year-old boy being bashed days before he died of his injuries. A 19-year-old woman was refused bail today. Police say she lured the boy to her Doonside home where he was attacked.
Kayla Dawson last Thursday.
It was pretty violent.
At the time, she was just a person of interest.
Yeah, it was like a bashing.
Over what, do you know?
I don't know what it's over.
Police say she does, arresting her outside her Doonside home yesterday and charging her with the murder of a 16-year-old boy she allegedly lured into an ambush. Not gang-related, police say she suspected the victim of stealing AirPods.
These are very serious charges. Ms Dawson understands the seriousness of them. She has instructed us to make a bail application on a later date.
4 boys and a girl aged 13 to 15 also face murder charges. Go hard, don't stop until he is knocked out, one is alleged to have said. Film this for me, I'm going to put this through the wall. The brutal attack was aired on social media.
No, stop!
Some of the neighbours here have told us they neither saw nor heard any of the atrocious events that happened in this house behind me last week. Other neighbours say they did, that when they came out to investigate, the people inside the house allegedly told them it was just a family matter. The first they learned of how serious it was is when Kayla Dawson is accused of running to a neighbour asking if they knew how to perform CPR.
If he had to come out of the house and come down the street for help, we would have helped him.
It's appalling. It's an appalling crime.
More than $30,000 has been raised for the victim's family, plus 20,000 signatures calling for life sentences. Dawson had been friends with her alleged victim for years. As he lay dying in hospital, this is what she told us.
He's a good guy, but he's just brought up the wrong way.
Robert Ovadia, 7 News.
Sydney's shutdown is crippling small business, and now big business is also grinding to a halt. Australia's largest brickmaker, Brickworks, has had to partly stop production as demand dries up, with warnings the knock-on effect will be felt long after the lockdown lifts.
Baking bricks at 1100 degrees Celsius, the decision to switch off a production line isn't a small one.
A lot of these kilns will run, 5 to 10 years at a time, so it's a pretty big thing to take them offline. You don't take that sort of decision lightly, but once the yard's full, there's nothing you can do.
It'll take about a week to fully switch off this kiln at Horsley Park, allowing it to cool down slowly. One of 3 in New South Wales that are being shut due to the COVID restrictions in the building industry.
Once we got to the point we physically had no space to put the bricks, that was it. That was a hard stop.
Even after construction resumed, he says sales are still about half what they were before the 2-week shutdown, when brick distribution was slashed 80%. It won't pick up completely until the lockdown is lifted and tradies can get back to work.
We're already having a pathway for some industries. As to what will occur in September will very much depend on what happens in August.
Even then, they're looking at 3 months before they can get all kilns back up and running. You might expect with a shutdown of this scale that job losses would follow suit, but Austral says no. Of the 1,300 staff it employs Australia-wide, no one will lose their job.
Without employees, we're nothing, so we need them, so we've got to look after them.
Evan Batten, 7 News.
Breast cancer screening clinics and mobile vans have been shut down across Greater Sydney in response to the current COVID situation. It comes after mass appointment cancellations and a need to redeploy staff to support the pandemic response. All David Jones and Myer-based clinics, as well as those in major hospitals, have been temporarily closed. Women experiencing any symptoms are urged to see their GP. A new trend is emerging in the United States as it struggles to encourage tens of millions of its own citizens to get vaccinated. Outsiders are flying in as vaccine tourists, grabbing the doses that locals don't want.
The very pandemic that cruelled travel is now a reason to travel.
It's hard to get a vaccine in the Philippines.
Philippine national Roxanne Tan among hundreds who've flown to California, not for Sunset Boulevard or the Golden Gate, but the oversupply of vaccines.
Because in Mexico, there are no plans. In Mexico, they are very slow.
Some walk into a chemist and ask for the one-shot vaccine, Johnson & Johnson. Other travellers get their one-and-done jab at San Francisco's airport.
80% of those new appointments are actually non-US citizens.
In fact, California's guidelines state vaccines are free and you must not be asked about your immigration status. As the US fights a COVID surge, largely among the unvaccinated, 100,000 new cases each day, record numbers among children.
These kids are getting sick. We've really got to make sure we protect them.
But many Americans are concerned to keep their freedoms. Here, healthcare workers protest as a Texas hospital demands staff are vaccinated. 1/3 of Americans remain unvaccinated, while thousands of the doses they don't want go to visitors who can't get vaccinated at home. In the United States, Tim Lester, 7 News.
The state's far north is set for a new film training program aiming to fill a skills shortage thanks to a landmark industry partnership. It's all part of a movie boom in the region, production heading in droves to what's being called Aussiewood.
The theatre of Hollywood.
Everyone fails at who they're supposed to be, Thor.
At home in Sydney, Chris Hemsworth, Chris Pratt and Natalie Portman here filming the next Thor blockbuster.
More actors are coming to Australia, more production sets are coming to Australia.
Netflix, Screenworks and the state government teaming up to capitalise on the increased investment and train a new workforce.
We see this as the next initiative in building up the production capacity of Australia.
Starting in northern New South Wales, camera, lighting, production managers and even accountants are needed. 80% of productions across Australia are understaffed.
We need to try to fill those gaps so that we can actually get more locals employed.
The pilot program run by Screenworks starts in Byron Bay next year, expanding to Coffs Harbour, Byron Bay Studios and Russell Crowe's proposed Pacific Bay Studios, creating hundreds of jobs. The program will provide placements and work experience in real productions. The training component is free and could lead to a 12-month paid internship.
Supercharged the need for skilled crews in this region.
Driving young film buffs straight into the action in 2022. Isabel Mullen, 7 News.
People risking their lives on Sydney's main streets. Just ahead, the videos that prove drivers and pedestrians are still struggling with the light rail. Heading for the country, how much Jimmy Barnes is asking for his unique Sydney home. Shark versus jet ski, a frightening encounter off the coast.
Suit in Sport live from Tokyo. The very Aussie way, Paddy Mills and the Boomers celebrated their history-making bronze medal.
And the rest of the working week is looking just superb. The full 7-day forecast is coming up.
Tori Morgan, will you please marry me?
Let's get married. I forgive you for everything.
Come on, guys, let's go!
Home away. Next up on 7.
Joe's on a mission to save for a house. There's a place over on Lang Street. Mate, it's grouse. Good thing Great Southern Bank has a tool called the Vault. It hides your home deposit. If you're tempted, it says halt. It means Joe's saving with a matter of urgency. And I can access my funds in the event of an emergency. Whether you're spur of the moment or a bit of a grafter. Great Southern Bank. Happily clever after.
We shouldn't have backed the favourite.
Oh, wow. Think that hurt? This'll hurt even more.
What?
The rougher you were thinking of backing but didn't, wins.
How did you know that?
I'm the punting god. You know, with Ned's Blended, you can select more than one runner to win.
In the same race?
Yep.
Ned's Blended. Pick multiple runners to win. Get special blended odds. Take it to the Ned's level.
Australians have always rolled up their sleeves in times of crisis, just as our team members have done, especially over the last year, to keep feeding Australia. We thank them for rolling their sleeves up again, this time to be vaccinated.
Look at these greys! I don't think there's ever going to be a better before and after.
Excellence Creme by L'Oréal Paris. 100% grey coverage and rich, radiant colour.
Boom! This is what I'm talking about. We're all worth it.
While this lockdown continues, we're offering UE clients and people shopping around for car insurance temporary relief on their car insurance premiums if they're not using their cars as much as they used to. UE. You insured.
Morning, hundreds and thousands. It's blue cheese. Tomato sauce head.
Sarah?
Kia. Movement that inspires.
Welcome back. Time now for a check on the markets with finance editor Gemma Acton.
Thanks, Mark. Well, you could have slept all day and woken up just now to find the ASX 200 unmoved. Despite a strong start, it finished exactly flat at 7,538 points. It was a better day for insurer Suncorp. Shares leapt on news of a 42% profit rise and a large shareholder payout. The Aussie dollar hasn't recovered from Friday's losses. It is now buying around 73.5 US cents, while gold has dropped to multi-month lows. And let's take a closer look at our biggest export, iron ore. After soaring to record highs in May, its price has since dropped by a quarter. That's on fears the appetite of our biggest customer, China, is waning. Mark.
Gemma, thank you. Hundreds of thousands of people have been allegedly ripped off by Optus, Telstra and TPG internet providers. The competition watchdog is taking court action against the telcos, claiming customers were left with incorrect NBN speeds. The ACCC is alleging the companies failed to deliver advertised plans and didn't provide a cheaper option or refund. All three are now contacting affected customers. Checking into shops and venues is being made easier with improvements to the Service New South Wales app. From next week, you'll be able to log in for 4 hours so you don't have to keep removing your mask for facial recognition. And if you forget to check out, you'll be able to do so in the history section. People without smartphones will also be able to get a plastic check-in card to avoid using pen and paper. It should be easy enough to use, but for the unaware, Sydney's public transport is proving very dangerous. Some are taking careless risks, others simply not paying attention, with shocking new video showing just how close they're coming to serious injury or worse.
A light rail driver could see the clear and present danger, but had nowhere to go as an out-of-control car careered head-on into the tram. Today, video of the April crash at Surrey Hills was released and it defies belief. Somehow the driver survived and nobody on board was hurt. Now it forms part of a campaign to mark Rail Safety Week.
Please think of our poor train drivers who have to experience the inability to stop a train and hit someone.
From pedestrians jumping into harm's way, a walker wedged between two trams, drivers running red lights, to careless cyclists. There have been 393 near misses recorded on the light rail network in the last year. 165 scares involved motor vehicles, 187 involved pedestrians, and 41 cyclists narrowly avoided being hit. The Sydney train network is still the most risky place for commuters, with almost 2,500 safety-related incidents reported the last year. Just over half of those scares involved slips and trips, while 168 people fell through platform gaps.
Don't try and run down escalators, upstairs or rush onto a train.
But stupid stunts continue to shock.
We have the penalties in place to catch you.
Putting a foot wrong could also cost a life. Ashley Hansen, 7 News.
A jet skier says he spotted 5 sharks before one launched towards him off the Queensland coast. Rick used a drone to record the attack by the 3-metre bull shark 20 metres off North Stradbroke Island. It left behind a bite mark on the ski which pierced the fiberglass layer. Rick says he'll steer clear of sharks in the future. It's the Rock and Roll Palace, bought with cold chisel cash. Still to come, Jimmy Barnes is selling up. So if you're in the market or just keen for a snoop, we'll take you inside the Aussie music legend's Sydney warehouse turned home and studio. Don't miss that story soon on 7 News. But now for the last time, Mel has sport from Tokyo, and Mel, the memories from there will be with us for a very long time.
Oh, Fergo, it's all a bit sad, isn't it? But yeah, some would say, I reckon forever. And there was a very special one for our flag bearer, Matt Belcher, at the closing ceremony. We will hear from him next. Plus, Jacinda Ardern puts paid to the NRL's contingency plan to play the grand final in New Zealand. And the IndyCar driver who crashed but still managed to win, and a terrifying fiery wreck in the MotoGP.
Here's tonight's winner on the 7 News The Chase $100,000 giveaway. Tune in tomorrow for your chance to win.
The
This will go down as the greatest in Australian Olympic history.
Come together for one very special night. Our champions.
I really wish my dad could have been here.
The moving, captivating moments.
I'm still in disbelief.
Pretty surreal and emotional.
And Bruce McAvaney, his incredible revelations.
Join us for this special event right here on Channel 7.
It's been an incredible ride.
Heroes of the Games, tonight after The Voice on 7.
Golden, never a boring bite.
When you choose Allianz Home Insurance, you could join others who received up to 30% no-claim bonus depending on your claims history. Allianz, behind you for what's ahead.
What's for dinner?
What could be easier than over 100 Coles quick and simple dinner ideas?
Smells absolutely delicious.
All made with 5 ingredients or less and ready in 30 minutes or less.
How easy is this?
There's a meal for everyone.
Really looks yummy.
Like our easy lamb and black bean burgers for less than $4 per serve. Find the new What's for Dinner recipes online at Coles & Co. and in this month's Coles magazine.
We'll have this one again.
What's for dinner? Value the Australian way at Coles.
New Fairy with built-in pre-wash power. Rehydrates, lifts and breaks down even baked-on food. Doing the pre-wash for you.
One wash and it's all clean.
It even cleans your filter too. New Fairy with built-in pre-wash power.
I'll be back in a tick.
So, how many weeks home?
13. But shh, I haven't told Dad yet. Dad, how did you know?
Have you heard of Amplifon?
Amplifon has been providing the latest technology in hearing aids for over 70 years. With over 300 Amplifon clinics, our audiologists will assess your hearing using our exclusive approach. Call 13MyEars to book a free hearing test. That's 13 69 32 77. Amplifon, the hearing care professionals.
Sometimes, no matter how hard you might try, you cannot fall asleep. Go Healthy's Go Magnesium Sleep from Chemist Warehouse is vegan and vegetarian friendly and traditionally used in Western herbal medicine to support muscle function, relieve nervous tension and promote a deep, restful sleep. Take 2 after your evening meal and wake feeling refreshed and well rested. Right now at Chemist Warehouse, Go Healthy's Go Magnesium Sleep is just $14.99. Live, look, feel well at Chemist Warehouse.
Welcome back to a very windy Tokyo where the Olympic celebrations are winding down. As you saw earlier, members of the Australian team have been flying out all day, some heading home, others to different parts of the globe. The latest plane load of athletes touched down a short time ago in Darwin, where a fortnight's quarantine awaits. Matt Belcher says carrying the flag at last night's closing ceremony is a memory he'll cherish forever.
Absolutely crazy.
They called me just before hopping out and the athletes were there and I'm waving the flag and we're doing a Aussie, 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 oi, 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 and it was just, yeah, really, really cool atmosphere.
Belcher and Will Ryan won gold in sailing's 470 class. The New Zealand government has all but ruled out hosting the NRL Grand Final. League bosses are looking into shifting the decider across the Tasman to guard against the possibility of an empty stadium due to COVID. But strict quarantine rules means it is unlikely to happen.
Back at training today, NRL players had a bounce in their step. Restrictions have eased in the Queensland bio bubble after the state's lockdown was lifted, allowing them to visit cafes and restaurants. For Manly, it's a chance to escape the intense Des Hasler.
He's trying to play cards with a few of the boys, and it's not to play cards, it's to talk footy with them.
There's a rule that you're not allowed to speak to us on our days off. He lingers around a bit and he wants to talk about footy. I said, it's right, you can talk to me.
The NRL's backup plan to move the grand final to New Zealand if the COVID crisis worsens here in Australia is all but over. Prime Minister Jacinta Ardern has stressed she won't be changing any of her strict protocols. That's despite allowing the Wallabies into the country 11 days ago.
So you remember we had that 1 week window where you could come in? They came in that 1 week window. That's now over. So actually for the NRL teams, they'd have to go into quarantine.
But some across the ditch are desperate to make it happen.
We'd be very keen, if it was possible, to make it work
and we'd do everything we can to ensure that it showcased Auckland and New Zealand to the world.
The Knights have confirmed Dane Gagai will return next season on a 3-year deal. Bulldog Dylan Napa has been hit with a combined 4-game suspension for 2 incidents against the West Tigers. And Jack Hetherington can accept a 2-game ban for a high tackle. Michelle Bishop, 7 News.
Lionel Messi cried uncontrollably while confirming his departure from Barcelona, his club of 21 years. Ex-teammates, club legends and family gave the football superstar a standing ovation. Well, Messi offered to cut his $112 million a year salary in half, but that wouldn't have solved the club's financial issues. The 34-year-old is set to sign a 2-year deal with Paris Saint-Germain worth around $94 million. Well, there was a terrifying moment at the Styrian MotoGP. The race was red flagged after 2 riders were caught up in an incredible fireball crash. Lorenzo Savadori suffered a broken ankle after slamming into Dani Pedrosa's fallen bike. Aussie Jack Miller also crashed out while pushing for a podium finish. He now trails championship leader Fabio Quartararo by 72 points. Spain's Jorge Martin scored his maiden MotoGP victory. And Marcus Ericsson crashed early in the IndyCar race in Nashville, then recovered to notch the most unlikely of victories. After urgent repairs to his car and a time penalty, Ericsson worked his way through the field. Aussie veteran Will Power was among a host of drivers to come unstuck as Ericsson charged to a memorable win. The Swede still doesn't have a drive for next season, but that might be about to change, you would think. And finally, what a way to end things. When you've ended a 65-year medal hoodoo, what better way to celebrate than by belting out an Oz rock classic? Paddy Mills led the bronze medal winning Boomers in a rousing rendition of Men at Work's Land Down Under. Paddy's clearly the MVP of celebrations too. I reckon, Fergo, a lot of us knew what a legend and a champion and just very good human this man is, but I think the secret's out. Everyone's onto it now. It's been an absolute pleasure and a privilege here. They don't muck around. The Tokyo 2020 sign has been taken down as we've been doing this sports break, but can officially say we'll see you soon, and from Tokyo officially, that's a wrap.
Well done, Mel. Great job, and of course, don't forget the souvenirs. We'll see you soon. Rock legend Jimmy Barnes is hoping to net $4 million by selling his Sydney home. It's a converted warehouse at Botany, but any similarity to a factory ends at the front door.
As Jimmy Barnes says...
We share some history, this house and I. Yeah, we do.
But now it's time for Jimmy and Jane to throw off those fast suburban chains and sell their Sydney warehouse. An astonishing inner-city home hidden behind a bland exterior, a home rich in rock and roll history.
We've grieved, we've laughed, we've cried, we've raised children.
And had some incredible parties, even recorded some great hits in its purpose-built studio.
I've done about 5, 6 #1 albums in that studio.
Cold Chisel, Barnesy solo, other collaborations.
I drive the neighbours crazy and rehearse my band in there, you know. So the neighbours are really loving. They're really nice.
He's joking. The $400,000 studio is soundproof. They stay in the Southern Highlands now, so the city pad is surplus.
Most of the time I just stay down here. I'm happy in the country. I'm a country boy.
The Barneses bought the property for $1.61 million 17 years ago, and it appears this was a clever investment, with the home set to fetch more than double that when it goes to auction on the 28th.
Yes, guiding around the $4 million. With the interest that I've got so far, we're hoping to get there and succeed it.
Perfect for big families, creative types.
Well, it was a photographic studio.
Or a working class man. Amber Laidler, 7 News.
Now Angie's back with the forecast. Ange, there's a lot to look forward to.
Mark, today was a good start and it's only up from there. Your very sunny and very warm outlook is next.
Tonight on The Latest, we'll bring you a comprehensive guide to vaccination progress around the nation tonight. Plus all the latest from Canberra on that Moderna approval announcement and why Hollywood's skipping the silver screen, heading straight for the stream. Join me for those stories and more tonight on The Latest from 7 News.
Tori Morgan, will you please marry me?
Let's get married.
Hey, he's crashing. We've got to move now, guys.
I forgive you for everything. You're officially my hero.
Come on, guys, let's go!
You are full of surprises.
Just getting started.
Home and Away. Next up on 7. Standard plates on some cars can look substandard. Improve the look with a better fitting plate. With more sizes now available to suit more cars, which would you choose? Visit myplates.com.au.
BritBox is here. What? Yes, more streaming telly. Sorry. But British. I'm sorry? It's the ultimate collection of British TV. No contract, no ads, no bother. Start a free trial at BritBox.com.
Climb a tower and be a princess, get shot at with arrows, wizards throwing spell packets. It's an amazing feeling. It's euphoric.
There are so many ways we can live better. Search Medibank Live Better to find yours.
We're doing everything we can to help you shop safe.
That's why we're doing extra cleaning.
And helping you keep your distance.
And please, don't forget to check in.
Or don't even leave your car with Click and Collect.
It's all to help you. Shop safe, add codes.
Wing It, the show where Aussies try doing their own tax return.
Can they conquer the non-deductibles?
Or the capital gains cannon.
All for a lousy return.
This tax season, don't wing it, ka-ching it. Book an appointment with the experts at H&R Block.
What's your pitch?
Forget the pitch. You've got an itch.
That itch could be dandruff. Silence it. New Head & Shoulders removes up to 100% dandruff and itch. New Head & Shoulders.
We shouldn't have backed the favourite.
Oh, wow. Think that hurt? This'll hurt even more.
What?
The rougher you were thinking of backing but didn't wins.
How did you know that?
I'm the punting god. You know, with Ned's Blended, you can select more than one runner to win.
In the same race?
Yep.
Ned's Blended. Pick multiple runners to win. Get special blended odds. Take it to the Ned's level.
Kia, movement that inspires. Peloton Australia, welcome.
We're in this moment together, Peloton. Woo! Keep your eyes focused ahead.
Richmond Meg, congrats on 100 rides.
Breathe in and focus. Bring that chin to your chest. Yes, you can. Let's go, team. You got this.
Tonight's 7 News headlines: a third vaccine will be available within weeks. Millions of Moderna doses bound for pharmacies. Tamworth, Byron, Ballina, Lismore and the Richmond Valley are tonight all in lockdown as virus infections spread. More Aussie athletes have touched down in Darwin tonight, ready for quarantine after a memorable Tokyo send-off. And the warehouse turned home studio belonging to Jimmy Barnes will go under the hammer later this month. Now here's Angie with Sydney's weather.
Thanks very much, Mark. We are in for a treat. Temperatures will steadily increase this week. So today's 20.4 degrees in the CBD was a good place to start, and it is only going to get warmer over the next few days. Most centres reach that 19 or 20 degree mark across the metro region. Terry Hill's a little bit cooler, 18. Katoomba also improving, 12 degrees today. Blacktown picked up a very light shower, 0.5 millimetre or so. Elsewhere it remains settled. Part of the reason is patchy cloud clearing, so lots more sunshine ahead. A cold front approaching Victoria will whip up damaging winds right across this yellow zone tonight. That's significant for us because ahead of that cold front, warmer northwesterlies will increase. That will funnel a warmer air mass right over New South Wales in the coming days. Around the nation tomorrow, you can see those gusty conditions already impacting Melbourne, a top of 18 degrees forecast there. Most other capitals remain settled settle tomorrow, with the exception of Perth, where showers and a possible storm are forecast. Quite cool as well, just 15 degrees. Back in New South Wales, under clear skies, the mornings are getting a little chillier, down to 3 degrees overnight for Wagga Wagga, 5 at Mudgee. Tops, on the other hand, will be warmer, 23 degrees on the way tomorrow for Newcastle and Wollongong, 26 at Bourke. In the metro region, a morning fog in our western suburbs will burn off pretty quickly, revealing a mostly sunny day. We're heading for a top of 23 degrees at Penrith and Richmond, 22 for Camden, degree or so cooler on the coast with 21 degrees at Manly and Bondi. On the water, north to northwesterly winds will generally run at 15 to 20 knots. They will increase though in the late evening, gusting up to 25 knots, just below strong wind warnings being issued. Back in Sydney tonight won't be too chilly, remaining in double digits across the city. Tomorrow we'll enjoy lots more sunshine and an above average top of 22 degrees, about 4 above the norm. To the week ahead, Wednesday is the standout, a spring-like top of 24 degrees in the city, 25 in our west. Those tops in the 20s last right through until the weekend. Saturday, though, won't bring much change at all. We're looking at a top of 19 degrees, remaining warm in our west, 21. And it seems mostly sunny right the way through the outlook period. The only thing to watch with these clear skies is a few cold mornings on the way, especially on Friday, down to 4 degrees in our west and 8 for the CBD. So overall, though, it is going to be a very good week during the day, Mark.
Working week looking very good, Angie. Thank you. That is 7 News for this Monday. We'll have updates for you throughout the evening. I'm Mark Ferguson from all the team. I hope you have a great night.